Well, after years of planning and construction, the Children's Museum of Indianapolis has opened the Riley Children's Health Sports Legends Experience. And by all accounts, it is, in a word, extraordinary. Bill Benner has more in this week's Inside Indiana Sports. Bill?
Gary, thanks indeed. The ribbon cutting took place last month. And as the weather warms, the Sports Legends Experience is certain to swarm with both children and adults eager to play and participate in the multiplicity of sports-related activities the experience offers. And joining us today on the show to discuss is the proud president of the Children's Museum of Indianapolis, Dr. Jeffrey Patchen. And Jeff, welcome.
Thanks, Bill.
Watching this go from planning to reality has been nothing, as Gary said, extraordinary, and you have to be very pleased with how it's gone thus far.
We are. It was about an 8-year planning experience and for funding and all of that, and now that it's open, it's exceeding our expectations.
And despite the weather, although we seem to getting a brief break, but despite the weather, attendance early on has been very encouraging.
Attendance has been great. You know, I think it's the 6th worst spring break weather period in Indiana history, but last Friday we set a record attendance for that day, 11,000. It was a nice day, but it wasn't that warm. So we're very excited about the attendance and the response.
Yeah, and we need to point out too that it's just not the basketball, the football, the hockey, the baseball, the auto racing, the soccer, all the sports, and the fantasy tree, the climbing tree.
Right.
But it's also, you got the history of hoops, you got the National Art Museum of Sport. I mean, there are a lot of things going on at the Children's Museum with this particular opening.
Absolutely. 3 indoor galleries, about 15,000 square feet in those 3 areas that you just mentioned. And even when we've had some days that are not so nice outside, we've done some of the skills and drills inside with kids and their parents, and that's been greatly appreciated.
We talked about this is not just, I mean, you think sports and that's great, but this is actually a health and fitness initiative.
It really is. And we've been trying for years to get our arms around health and fitness with visitors to the museum and temporary kind of exercise exhibits that never, frankly, went over too well. But we added the sports and the legends and the inspiration of great athletes that not only are great in their sport, but also give back to the community and give back to Indiana and Indianapolis and as inspiration, and create these mini environments where kids can play with their parents or their grandparents. It's been a success so far.
And my grandchildren are going to be there as soon as they come back to Indiana.
Great.
The Avenue of Champions, you talked about again, some of the great names in the history of sport are featured along that walk.
Absolutely. We wanted to feature men and women, professional athletes, amateur athletes, coaches, et cetera, that have transformed sports and have been an inspiration that have some tie to Indiana.
And you also alluded to it, and I can, again, I've been there, I can speak to this, but this is not just for kids. I mean, adults are loving it.
There is as much there for adults as kids. So we have the 4-foot hoops and we have the 10-foot hoops and a lot in between.
As we wrap up, there's been some question about the ticket information, so just briefly sum up how the ticketing works for both the museum and the Sports Legends Experience.
During the day, the 1 ticket for the museum and outdoors, it's all one. And on the evenings when we're open late from 5 to 8, there is a special evening ticket purchasable if folks want to come and just do the outdoor thing in the evening. But it's 1 ticket for all, and it's priced that way.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, we appreciate you coming on the show again. Folks, you gotta see this place to believe it. It is absolutely out of this world, and something that all of us in Central Indiana can be very proud of. So, Jeff, you and your staff, congratulations on a job exceedingly well done.
Thank you.